Ooh, Corey Feldman.
Please, can we?
It's hard to look at.
No, be quiet.
I know you love him.
No.
I know everybody loves him.
Look.
I think he's a weirdo, personally.
Shut up.
I don't care.
No, he makes me sad.
When I saw him trying to have a music career
Stop it.
and performing like he's Michael Jackson, that's when I had my issues with Corey Feldman.
Are we really going to spend this whole episode diving into why Corey Feldman turned out to be the way he is?
Why not? I mean,
because
you started this.
You started this.
You started this before we even hit record.
You picked this movie.
I did.
You picked this movie because you said you had never seen it.
In the year of our Lord, 2025, I have finally seen The Lost Boys. It's not as if I didn't know the movie existed. Plenty of people I knew growing up loved this movie. This is like my sister's generation movie.
Absolutely. She's what? About a decade older than you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, this movie was right up her alley. When this came out, I was like 5, 6 years old, whatever.
Yeah.
So I had no interest in it at all.
Right.
After watching it, I can say that, that's my review of this movie, by the way.
Okay, well, I was going to say, hey, let's get some Bullet Machine in here, but I guess let's just skip to the ending Bullet Machine, right?
Sure.
Welcome to our show about pop culture stuff. We keep watching and connected, but it's never enough. Talking with our friends about our favorite things. TV shows and movies and some random swearing. This is the pretty, this is the little, this is the pretty little podcast.
Hello, all you pretty little people. This is the Pretty Little Podcast. I'm your host, Deadbeat Chad, and with me is just Jess.
It's me. Hi.
So
we lied. That was the opening. Haha, suckers.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. We took a brief hiatus for many reasons, none of which are bad necessarily, but holidays and...
We don't like people listening to us talk.
I don't know why you would say that.
I'm tired of people asking where Chucky is. I will say this about Chucky, all right? No body, no crime. That's what I'm saying.
I'm remaining silent. I would like a lawyer. I'm going to go ahead and lawyer up just in case.
He'll be back eventually. We're trying to figure out a way to get him to record from home so he doesn't have to make the drive over here.
But, draining at the same time. So, yeah, between that and Christmas and everything, you know, we did take a bit of a break. Sorry, but we are back now. It is, as you said, the year of our totally real, fucking Lord, 2025.
Yeah. It's a new year.
And we're back at it.
So we're doing new things, and I'm watching for the first time The Lost Boys for some reason.
A bit of behind the scenes. We had watched 2 other movies before this that were supposed to be for the podcast. And for whatever reason, Chad was just not feeling it. So we went into the living room because you do have a very hefty movie collection.
I do.
I have maybe 2 dozen movies. Most of them are Studio Ghibli or like anime related or like the Dark Crystal and Legend. So I don't, but you're the movie boy. And we were going through and we were like, well, what about this? What about this? And you were like, whoa, what about Lost Boys? And I was like, I mean, if you want. And you were like, well, I've never seen it. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How?
That's the response I always get.
How can you be the age you are, grow up when you did, and never see this movie?
To me, I thought this movie was far more serious than it is.
That's what you, before we started watching it, you were like, well, isn't this very serious? And
I thought this was like an interview with a vampire type thing where it was just taking itself way too seriously.
No, not at all. It's a Joel Schumacher movie. Did you know that before you saw it?
No.
Okay. So that should have clued you in right there. As far as I go, I did not see this movie when it was new. It came out in 1987. Oh, by the way, The Lost Boys is a 1987 American comedy horror film directed by Joel Schumacher, produced by Harvey Bernhard with a screenplay written by Jeffrey Boehm, Janice Fisher, and James Jeremias. It is an ensemble cast, and it includes Corey Feldman and Jamie Gertz, Corey Haim, so both of the Coreys.
We got
Edward
a double dose of
Herman,
Corey in this movie.
We do. Bernard Hughes, Jason Patrick, Kiefer Sutherland, Jameson Newlander, and Diane Wiest. This is straight from the wiki. Who they don't include is Alex Winter. He's not listed Even though he is Alexander
Yeah, I think
Winter.
you mean Alexander Winter.
Yes. Is that why you thought maybe this talk took itself too seriously because he was going by Alexander
Maybe.
Winter?
No, that's
Of
like,
Bill and Ted fame, of course.
that is
The Bill
definitely
part.
sounds like one of those things where, like, you know, guy's looking out the window of his home and he's like, it's gonna be an Alexander Winter. this year."
So I'm just thinking of the buttercups of winter
Yeah.
now from The Simpsons we've been talking about this week.
So yeah,
And Freaked. Isn't that the movie we did that he was in?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if this tells you anything about like how big the movie collection I have is, I own this movie. I have owned this movie probably for 10 years now, and I'm just now watching it.
we have many movies that are still wrapped up.
Yeah, I haven't even taken them out
Because
of
we
the
used to go
cellophane.
to like big warehouse sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, just buy hundreds of movies at once.
Right, because they're like $1 or 50 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
And we would take big bags and it was a whole thing. And yeah, we did that for several years.
Yes.
It was a nice way to beef up your
And
collection.
let me tell you, it really, like, guys, any of you out there looking to start collecting physical media, get a permanent place for it. You don't want to move this shit around every time you move. It's a pain in the ass to keep everything in alphabetical order
Mm-hmm.
in boxes.
Oh yeah, no, we have a system
Yeah.
when it comes to because
trust
it's not
me,
just
it is a huge
DVDs, it's
pain in the
Blu-rays,
ass.
it's box sets, it's all kinds of stuff.
Right. Anyways, this is the first time that I've seen this.
Yeah.
My first impression of this, like I had mentioned before the intro, was
Well, I call it aesthetic the movie.
it's
It's
a
about
little,
the aesthetic. As far as I go, I didn't see it when it was new because it was 1987. I turned 4 at the end of 1987.
right.
I saw this in the mid 90s because of Interview with the Vampire, because I had seen Interview with the Vampire, and me being the tender girl age I was at that time, it was like my favorite movie ever. Like, oh my God. Obviously, I was going to grow up to be an emo bitch, right?
If you were like 8 years older, this movie would have been like,
that's what I was going to
your
say.
awakening.
As it was, I was too young. I didn't see it. Like, I had already seen Interview with the Vampire before I saw this, and though I appreciate the aesthetic and I'm here for it, it was too silly. Like, I had already seen the super brooding, sad vampire, and of course that's going to be like, oh, I can fix him, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, this vampire movie in particular, it doesn't really understand what type of vampire it's going for.
No, and it breaks its own rules.
Because at some point,
And
they're
that irritates me.
like very self-aware.
Yes.
They're very, what do you call
Join
it?
us,
Confident.
Michael.
But then
One
other
of
times
us,
they're sad and
Michael.
gloomy.
Well,
They don't know what they're up to.
Well,
like,
I think that's because, and we're going off of the assumption that people have seen this movie. We're going to be spoiling things, obviously. I think because this was the first time you've seen this.
yes.
What before the big reveal that why do you think Kiefer Sutherland and the rest of them want Michael to join them so badly?
At
As
first,
you were watching it, why did you think that?
my original thought
Yeah.
was because he has excellent hair.
They're like, dude, we
I
can
didn't go
just give
beyond
you
that.
an earring and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
give you some kind of
You look
give
like
you a
a butt
half
rocker.
shirt. You clearly work out, so
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
I've seen this several times throughout my life. It's never really my thing. It's a little too silly. It can't decide what,
But they
like you said,
try
what it
to-
wants to be. If they had gone more serious, I would have been all over it. Or if
Right.
they had been goofy all the way, then you can like get behind
Well,
that.
they try to red herring you with it by saying that the reason they want him is because Star is there's a character in this movie named Star.
Yeah, she's
Which-
played by Jamie Gertz, who I know as like Bill Paxton's new girlfriend in Twister. You know, she's the
Yeah,
Southern,
yeah.
she's the psychiatrist, and she's like, I gotta go, we got cows. Like, she's talking on the phone.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's what
I do
know
like
her
your
as. She's
comment you made
beautiful.
while we were watching this.
What?
How like everyone in this movie went on to better things except the main character.
Yeah, except Michael. Who the fuck is that guy? Well, that is Jason Patrick without a K at the end, okay?
Yeah.
Patrick? I don't know.
Patrick.
He's surrounded by famous people, or at least people who
I'm sure he went on to do things.
he did, but like nothing notable.
Looks like he's a producer now.
I'm all good for him. He's very boring in this movie. Everybody else is more interesting, except I don't know. this movie's difficult to talk about because some certain people who really irritate the shit out of me and always have are now dead, and I don't like to really necessarily speak ill of the dead. What's that face? What?
Yeah, he's done plenty of shit. Just
Yeah, I
nothing
just
good.
don't know him.
Nothing notable, really. It's mostly
he's going up
made
against
for TV movies, straight to video movies.
I mean, this had to be a huge get for him, right? Like, because like Kiefer Sutherland, how well known was he? I mean, obviously this put him on the map, like
in
nobody's
1987.
business. Yeah,
I mean,
don't
his
know what else
father,
he was.
Donald Sutherland,
I know
was
that,
very
but as far
well known.
as he himself, because like he's with the Coreys, who by that point were definitely a thing. Corey Feldman and Corey Haim.
Right.
Diane Wiest has always been great. I love her in everything. Corey Haim, I'm sorry, I know he's dead. He never shuts his fucking mouth, and I don't mean he talks a lot. I mean like his mouth is hanging open.
Yes.
It's like Bella from Twilight. The vampire adjacent younger person has to have their fucking mouth hanging open the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shut your fucking mouth. And I'm sorry, I know you're dead, but he just, and I can't stand that.
Struggling really hard here to figure out, like, okay, this movie, it is
fun.
It's
fun.
It has a point. At the end, there's a reason why they go after Michael.
End. Yes,
there's a reason why.
Well, that's
all
what
this.
I was going to say. The reason,
it's stupid.
Well, I think that the head vampire told them to cultivate him because he really wanted the mom, and if he's already a vampire, then he has an in, and he's romancing the mom
based
separately.
On what? Only the fact that Max, who, by the way, spoiler, is the head vampire.
Yes,
he sees Diane Wiest walk past his video store.
Well, and he said she's kind. The thing is, okay, this is called The Lost Boys. This is intentionally calling to J.M. Barrie's, like Peter Pan, The Lost Boys, right? He wants a mother. I had said when we watched it, I always wished her name was Wendy. It's Lucy. It should be fucking Wendy.
It might as well be.
No, that would have been more clever and a better tie-in to The Lost Boys. Because Wendy, in the story, does become like a mother to the Lost Boys. And I like that idea. And no, he sees Lucy go into his shop and help a small lost boy, right? Literally. Mm-hmm. And his mom comes up and whatever. And he says that she's kind. And he likes that. He's looking, because he is the head vampire of this Kiefer Sutherland, vampire gang.
Who don't really know if they are into
dudes.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? This whole movie doesn't know. It doesn't know if it's a butt rock movie or a punk movie. It doesn't know if it's a gay movie or a straight movie. It doesn't know what it is.
It is so much of Keith Sutherland getting Rona Michael, join us, Mike. Like right up in his face. Right. So
but
close.
It definitely
has needed
Joel
to make
Schumacher
out.
Written all over it.
Yeah. We just needed like the turn with the bat suit with the nipples and stuff like that. But it's
somebody needed a shirt with nipples on
lots
it.
Of fire in barrels. That's a Schumacher staple.
There's a layer.
Yeah. Yes, there is a layer. There's a lot of interesting neon colors and bright lights and dramatic lighting and stuff like that.
If you're not familiar with Joel Schumacher,
go watch Batman Forever.
Every scene that he shoots, there is red lights off.
There are
on the sides to
lights.
give it this weird glow.
Yes, and a lot of homoeroticism, which I'm here for. I'm not gonna lie, that's fine. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
but it is amusing at the same time because it's so blatant.
And before, because you said that, before watching this movie, my only experience with this was the shirtless saxman.
Jesus Christ, he's everything I do not look for.
I was very aware of that character and very aware that it came from this movie.
I forgot I didn't know he was a meme.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's so muscle bound and so oiled. He has the really tight, half ponytail that's very curled.
It's one of those ponytails where he's got his hair pulled back in a ponytail, but he also put gel.
A lot of gel. It's a thing. They do that shit, man. He is
glistening.
Yes. Well, and little baby-faced Alexander Winter in this movie, his fake mullet thing he's got going on, because his golden curls cascade down his back.
It is impossible for anyone's hair to naturally grow like that.
Well,
are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, you need a lot of product, but you can make that happen.
His hair 100%. Looks absolutely ridiculous in this movie.
Yes. Well, most of them have a mullet, or they have the wind blown, I don't know their names. The like blonde one who isn't Kiefer Sutherland, and then the one that clearly has some Native American blood in him because he's got the cheekbones and the long hair and all that. I know that one's name is Dwayne. I can't remember what the blonde guy, the guy who dies in the bathtub. They both look like lead singers or lead guitarist for, something like Poison or Rat. Or they even say when they kill the blonde one in the bathtub, they're like, we got the one that looks like Twisted Sister. Corey Feldman says that.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, because I'm looking at IMDb right now. And most of these actors are bald now, and they don't look like they did in the movie.
Yeah, and some of them are dead, obviously.
One in particular.
Corey Haim.
How did he die?
It's not good.
Suicide?
And it really fucked Corey Feldman up even further. I don't want to go into it. Is that Brooke McCarter? He's known for the role of Paul in the comedy The Lost Boys. I'm going to say that's Brooke McCarter, and he plays Paul. If I'm wrong, comment. Let us know.
That's one of the problems I have with this movie, too, is the fact that, like, these vampires are just... You have Max, David, Paul...
Well, yes. Because
none of these names are inventive, creative.
Well, or old necessarily.
Right. But they don't need to be old because they weren't turned.
Well, I guess David's in the Bible and stuff like that. Like the name David.
I figure Max showed up at this boardwalk. He started turning people then.
See, it's not clear because Kiefer Sutherland, the first time they go to the lair, he has a whole discussion about how this used to be like the happening place. And then like in 1906, this big earthquake hit and da-da-da. And it's kind of implied, if you already know they're vampires, that they lived through all of this. What doesn't make any sense to me is Laddie, the little boy, like half vampire.
Right.
Because he is literally dressed like the little boy from Les Mis.
Yeah.
Who like leads the sings the Revolution song and ends up dying.
But
and all that.
he's a new vampire because his
missing thing is on the milk carton.
Yes.
So why is he dressed like a
why would they turn a boy
100 years old?
What could he possibly add to this group?
Well, yeah, because it's not like I don't know. They don't go into it.
You know what it was? They had to have a character there for Star.
The mother?
Yes.
Do you think they were trying to groom her as the possible mother, but then like maybe David wanted her
I think that was like an idea that they were having.
Maybe.
But
I don't know why Laddie is dressed like he belongs in Revolutionary era
Max
France.
is like 20 years older than her. He would have been far more interested in somebody being their mom who's like more his sister.
Age. Because both Laddie and Star are half vampires, and Michael becomes a half vampire. I don't know whether it's clear to you, like you have to kill and drink human blood in order to become a full vampire. So that's like when
I figured they had to turn you.
No, Kiefer Sutherland started that process when he had him drink the blood out of the bottle.
Right.
And so that's when he
that's what I thought that's why he was only half, because he drank the blood. He was not bitten.
No, you have to, in this world, go and kill somebody and drink their blood, drink a human's blood to fulfill it and become a full vampire. That's why they took him to that like Run DMC Aerosmith beach party to kill people because they're like, come on, it's time to join the club.
Then I gotta ask this question. At the end of the movie, when Max goes to bite Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he biting her? He wants to turn her into a vampire.
Right. So she can be the mom to the boys.
Then why wouldn't he have her drink his blood? Why would he bite her?
Dude, why? Okay, look, don't get me started. Look, I am not...
That's where I got confused, because I was like, okay, then drinking their blood just turns you into a half vampire. If they bite you, then you turn.
No, I don't think that's the case.
Well, they
play real fast and loose with vampire rules in this. They did a terrible job explaining that. Because... like, for example, and this is what bothers me, and I told you, because again, you had never seen it, so I was trying not to point out things that, like, break the lore throughout the fucking movie. But, like, it's revealed at the end that Max is the head vampire. You have to kill the head vampire, and then everyone who is a half vampire turns back to human, okay?
Right. That I understood.
No, I understand that,
too. They explain that through a comic book.
Right.
Which
they explain
also
a lot through a comic book.
All of the logic in this movie comes from a comic book.
And there's a lot of Superman talk. Do you think that's because this was a Richard Donner production?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because there's a lot of real specific Superman issue number blah. They hadn't discovered red
I think
kryptonite.
It's hilarious too that
And
he's in
like,
there looking for a copy of Batman 14, and Schumacher wound up directing Batman.
Yeah.
Later.
By the way, that was something that you were able to to solve for me, because in the movie they're like, there's only 5 in existence of Batman 14 or whatever.
Batman number 14.
Yeah, there's only 5 in existence. He's like, yeah, I'm always on the lookout
No,
for the other
He's
4.
like, actually, there's 4.
Oh. Okay.
It's not true, ladies and gentlemen.
I was like, is that true? And you were like, what? No.
Absolutely not.
I was like, okay. But, yeah, no, okay. So, because they test Max earlier in the movie, they feed him a lot of garlic. They put his face up to a mirror, as shenanigans ensue. He passes all the tests. It turns out at the end of the movie, and this has always fucking irritated me, that because he was invited into the house that first time, none of the things that affect vampires count. He gets a free pass while he's in the house. He's not affected by holy water. He's not affected by garlic. He suddenly has a reflection. So that's how they were able to keep him from being ousted as the head vampire midway through the movie.
Yes, because he tricked them into inviting them into the house.
Issue is that Michael, who is the big brother, the main character, half vampire, while in the house that he lives in, so he didn't even need to be invited in, has half a reflection, right?
It's like
he's translucent.
It's like when Marty McFly is disappearing from
it's that classic
photos.
Transparency, 50% transparency. Right. Why is he being affected by this shit? He's already been invited in the house, clearly, because he lives there.
Yeah.
So why would he be exhibiting any vampire symptoms? Why would he be affected by this shit?
Because they need you to not know these things.
I hate
so that they can trick you later.
Really, I don't like it. It doesn't make sense.
This is not well written.
They really should have had something in there to check the vampire's feet.
What?
Well, because when show feet should be the subtitle of this movie. That's the way to become a vampire hunter in this world. Because they hang upside down like bats. And at the end of the, before the final, confrontation, Kiefer Sutherland and everyone aside from baby Alexander Winter, who R.I.P., not in his character, Marco, died.
Yeah, Marco dies.
He got stabbed.
Alex Winter is very much alive.
He is alive and precious. But no, they have a combination of human and bat feet. That's how they're able to cling. Well, when they're in their halfway phase, right? They've got the kind of Buffy the Vampire Slayer style vampire face when they get mad, which I never liked. They can only
do that at night.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Well,
I assumed the feet thing was part of that.
No, because they sleep during the day.
Oh, I guess so.
So why, okay, I'm going to make a weird transition, but Roald Dahl's The Witches, one of the things is checking their feet because they have no toes. There's different signs of witches. Mm-hmm. And I feel with all the information, because this town is remarkably well informed about vampires just living there, why isn't that part of it? Because those feet were freaky. I just feel that would have been.
I also feel they wouldn't have fit in their shoes.
No, yeah, they were way too long.
Yeah.
Maybe that is kind of a glamour thing where when they have the stupid half vampire face
that's another thing
their feet are longer.
We haven't mentioned yet. They could just make you believe that you're seeing shit that you're not seeing. So why was that only used once in the movie?
Because they didn't need to after. They were okay, so what he's talking about,
when
scene
they set that up, when they did that
where they're
scene,
eating Chinese food.
Yes.
Yeah. And
before Michael even knows what vampires are,
right,
that they are vampires.
And David is like, you like those maggots? It's pretty good, huh? He's flexing on him, man. It's not a serious power. He's literally just fucking with him.
But the thing is, why was that not also used? The reason, I thought the whole reason for that, for fucking with him that way, was that it was going to get used later on in a more creative way.
No.
To trick humans or whatever. No, it never comes up again.
They were literally just trying to make the most boring supposed Chinese food imaginable.
This is a very boring vampire movie.
Well, I just don't like that they were just sitting eating just rice.
This, as far as vampire movies go, this is
it's very slow.
There's nothing happening in this film.
I have fallen asleep several times watching this movie.
And I
didn't this time.
I can understand for 1987, how this would possibly be new and interesting.
Yes.
But
Again, I
watching it now,
maintain that this was made for teenage girls
for teenage girls and
gay boys.
gay men,
Yeah.
gay boys
Yes.
that
There are a bunch of
don't
pretty
really
boys.
know they're gay yet. Maybe they're
Well, but
they've
maybe
had
this will
thoughts or
help.
whatever.
Well, I mean, but look at the 80s though. The 80s is full. My very first crush, I guess you could say. I don't know. Was
David Bowie.
Yes. As Jareth, the Goblin King in Labyrinth. And I was like 4 and you can't even really call that a crush. I just knew I liked looking at him. Right? You don't
just thought he
know.
was pretty.
You're just like, wow.
And that's what this
But
movie
that
is. This
whole
is
pretty
a bunch
androgyny.
it's pretty boys.
I mean, you know me.
being vampires.
This would have been right up my alley if I was the right age.
Yeah, like I said, if you were like
100%.
6 years older,
You
7
make
years
fun
older
of
or
me for
something.
liking Hyde, the Japanese musician. You're like, he just looks like a vampire. And I'm like, shut up, he's talented.
Yeah, well,
No, what I'm saying is, like, the aesthetic, I call it aesthetic the movie. It's very, and not just the vampires. The city of, God, Santa, because it's not Santa
Carla,
because it's not Santa.
Clarita.
Yeah, no, and it was filmed mainly in Santa Cruz. Yes, I'm trying to think of Santa Clara. God damn it, this
Santa
is difficult.
Clara?
Yeah, it's a real city.
Well, this is
And
Santa Carla.
I know, which is not, and but it's close enough that it gets me all fucked up.
Yeah, murder capital of the world.
That's right, as is proudly displayed on the back of the "Welcome to" sign.
Yeah.
Like, there is such, and it is Schumacher's influence clearly, but there is such a feel and a look, like a grimy yet punky yet neon
rock.
fantastic vibe to this entire city.
Yeah,
Like,
just to give you an idea of what's going on here, there's a scene in this movie where the vampires go to feed off of these people that are like sitting in front of a bonfire.
Yeah.
They look like punks, and they're listening to Aerosmith.
but it's Run DMC's Aerosmith. The Walk This Way, that collaboration they did.
Right.
Because that is something,
As we all know, in 1987,
that's what all the punks were listening to.
yes,
Correct.
yeah,
And dancing around the fire.
they
very
certainly
pagan
weren't
style.
listening to the Misfits
No.
or Operation Ivy.
What are you talking about?
Or
Walk this way.
yeah, exactly.
Talk this way. No, one thing I did want to bring up, the soundtrack is strange. Because some of it's actually like really atmospheric and good, but this soundtrack has several instances of famous people covering other famous people's songs.
Mhm.
Because like while the credits are running, it's "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," which is an Elton John song,
Right.
but sung by Roger Daltrey, who's the lead singer of The Who.
And also, wouldn't they want the sun to go down on them?
Well, I think that was like supposed to be Michael, right? Don't let the sun go down on me. Like, I'm only a half vampire. I'll find a way. Don't give
Yeah.
up.
Also, why is the theme to this movie called Cry Little Sister? Not a single little sister in this
No.
movie. There's barely any women.
No. Yeah. Well, there's Star and the mom. What else do you need?
Maybe a little sister. That would help. That would make sense of the theme song for this
Shit,
movie.
I'm trying to remember who.
It would help if she was crying too.
Because Echo and the Bunnymen covered a song on this soundtrack too. There's a Doors song called "People Are Strange," but it's performed by Echo and the Bunnymen in this. So it's not the Doors, and they do have a Doors thing because there's like that big, like probably the most
There's a
famous
Jim
picture
Morrison
of Jim
mural,
Morrison.
yeah. In
Like
their
there,
lair.
it's that cover of Rolling Stone, I think, is what it was. Wasn't that picture?
Yeah,
I think.
it's almost like it was like part of a billboard at some point.
Right, they just like took it.
I mean, it's large.
You know, the lead singer of Foreigner had a song on the soundtrack. Like there's a lot of cover songs. It's interesting.
Speaking of that, let's talk about their lair.
Oh, okay.
What do you think of this lair?
I think you desperately want a lair, is what I learned about Chad.
I have always wanted a lair.
little
I still want one.
little sweet deadbeat Chad through this movie. You brought up wanting a lair at least 6
Yeah.
times.
I definitely would, like, if I had
And
a
you know,
lair,
I want that for you.
it would look very similar to this one.
I don't doubt it at all.
Complete with like
Well-
barrels on fire.
It really is
Maybe
the
not the
aesthetic
Jim
that made
Morrison
me
mural.
surprised that you hadn't seen it.
Like I said, it's not that I
punk
wasn't.
adjacent.
It's not that I wasn't aware of it. I just thought it was like a movie that took itself way too seriously. And
Yeah,
in some ways
why?
it does
Why? What makes you think? What made you? I'm curious. What made you think that?
because of the dark tones of it, I guess.
Well, they're vampires.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I mean, you look at the Universal Monsters vampire movies, which is at this point in my life is what I would have been most familiar with.
Hmm.
none of those took themselves seriously.
Well, and the Munsters. There's some Munster tie-ins here.
Right.
Because there is a Munsters Munster what? What's the poster?
Munster Go Home.
Munsters Go Home.
Yeah.
And then the guy who plays Max ends up playing Herman Munster on a made-for-TV movie later on in like the mid-90s. So anyways.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, when it comes to the Munsters, I prefer the original cast.
No,
I'm not watching
I don't
anything
even
else.
want to talk about the Munsters because I'll get real mad at the way that Herman is treated constantly. Like he is precious baby and must be protected at all costs.
Yeah, the Munsters is a good time. I just have no...
Fred Gwynn, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have no desire to watch anything
I
new.
love him. I never did see the Rob Zombie one. Did that come out?
Yes.
It came out, right?
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
I don't fucking know.
Back to the soundtrack of this movie. It is very 80s.
Did you like the love
It's
scene?
extremely 80s. The love scene that lasted 12 seconds
Right. It's all lead up.
and then cut away to like clouds.
Yeah. Well, you asked me while we were watching this. Here, you want to ask me again?
Oh, I was like, is this what women are thinking of while they're getting off?
And what
Just
did I say?
Clouds.
And what did I say?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can
Which-
confirm. Yep.
That's a little strange, but no, I mean, the soundtrack itself is very 80s. A lot of NXS.
Mhm.
Michael Hutchins
Yes.
has a lot of songs in this.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it is
Like,
what it is.
honestly, I don't mind the soundtrack. Like, the
But
movie
again,
knows what it is.
You think
right?
that they would at least put like 3 prominent punk bands on this thing.
That's why it's just aesthetic, baby. There's nothing backing it up. They want the punk look.
With none of the commitment.
Right. It's
Okay.
style over substance. That's what Schumacher does well.
Mhm.
Style over substance. This movie's all style.
Yeah.
And people who insist that this is a fantastic movie are very thick nostalgia goggles.
Batman and Robin was definitely a great
Jesus.
example of a Schumacher style over substance movie.
Did you ever do the drinking game? My friends and I did the drinking game watching Batman and Robin, and whenever something corny happened, you took a shot, and we didn't make it halfway through the movie. It was a bad night.
No, I would never do. I would end up dead.
Well, we were like totally of drinking age. Uh-huh.
In 1997?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you certainly were.
No, it wasn't in 1997. I was in
You're
7th
70
grade.
years old right
I
now.
was I was in 7th grade in 97.
Mhm.
No, it was later on. It was well, I don't want to say who. The friends I knew when I met you. You worked with one of them.
Right.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the soundtrack goes, it's fine. It works for the movie.
I just think it's strange that there's so many covers of famous songs by other famous people. Like it for whatever reason it stuck out. I was like, because there is an Echo and the Bunnymen like poster in one of the boys' rooms, either Sam or Michael.
This is
Do
like
you want to talk about the posters in Sam's room?
I will say this about the posters in Sam's room.
I'm gonna die.
When I was Sam's age,
uh-huh.
if I had these same posters in my room,
Uh-huh.
my parents would have definitely questioned my sexuality.
At least your stepfather.
Yes, for sure.
Your stepfather, I knew him well. He would have had questions.
Yeah, right.
But that is a thing about the 80s, though, because we even talked about little baby Alexander
No.
Winter.
That is a thing about 80s movies.
Well, I suppose. A whole
80s
lot of
boys-
half shirts.
80s boys had a lot of like swimsuit girls in front of cars.
Yes, but 80s boys wore half shirts and had like abs and
But
stuff.
a lot of 80s boys also had the Confederate flag hanging in their room.
Well,
So there's that.
you didn't have that.
I never had a Confederate flag.
Well,
no.
that's something good.
We could go on and on all day.
I love, because didn't we determine we think that's Rob Lowe in that poster?
Yeah. It
It
had to
really
be.
looks like Rob Lowe.
But was he?
Oh yeah, he was part of the Brat Pack, man. He was
Okay.
in St. Elmo's Fire and stuff like that. So
Then yeah, it was definitely him.
then maybe that other one really was Molly Ringwald, like you thought, because that's Brat Pack shit, both of them.
It was Rob Lowe
It was definitely
in
Rob
an
Lowe.
outfit that looked like something that Cindy Crawford would have worn.
Yeah, no, it's very artistically ripped,
Yeah, exactly.
and tight in all the right places and
Mi-
loose
a
in
lot of
all the right
midriffs.
places. A lot of
Midriff
midriffs.
t-shirts on men.
Well,
in
and
this movie.
like I said, little baby Alexander Winter had his signature, almost signature
Alex
half
Winter
shirt.
loved the midriffs.
Dude, he was like, check out my belly button and like everything.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
And not so much these days, but definitely back then. Look at Bill.
Yeah. No, like I said, everything I know him in.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of, and I don't know, it started to come back in the early 2000s too. Like whether it's football players or other, it's just like the tiny jersey, like just enough to cover the man tits, right? Or the boy tits.
Yep.
And let's let that belly fly free. Hell yeah, ladies. Hell yeah, not ladies.
I mean, when you work that hard on your abs, you want people to know.
You will never hear me argue. Like, go for it. If you've worked that hard and you want to show it off, okay, go for it. It doesn't really do anything.
Do anything for women?
I can't speak for women. I'm not like most women. I would say with all but one exception that I can think of, it never really did anything for me. But.
And what was that exception?
It doesn't matter.
Was it David Bowie?
Oh God, no. No, he would never. He's more artistic than that. He's not so crude.
I think David Bowie, he knows better.
He doesn't need that. He is high art, okay? Well, he's dead now. But he was always that androgynous high art style, fantasy, like, you know, the whole Ziggy Stardust thing, like from another world. He was very otherworldly.
Yeah.
He was not defined by gender or look or anything. He just was, right?
Sure.
So, and then he married a fucking supermodel. Because hell yeah, he did.
Course.
Yes. As well he should. And they were so happy together. And now I'm going to get sad again.
Well,
I can't listen to Black Star. So what did you think about the reveal that Max was the head vampire?
I was not at all surprised.
I want it noted that throughout this movie, you were trying to figure out who the head vampire was. And I was like, I can tell. Do you really want to know? I will tell you.
No.
And yeah, so I won't actually tell. But you were like, is the mom the vampire?
I honestly, at first,
it can't be David because
I
it's
thought
too
it was
obvious.
the grandpa.
That would have been amazing. Which, oh my God, by the way, fuck the grandpa, because and I went on a little rant about this when we were watching the movie, but the grandpa knew the entire fucking time that there were vampires. And there had been for a long time. His recently divorced daughter and his two grandsons come to live with him and a chance to start over.
And she starts dating the head vampire.
He says fucking nothing.
Doesn't say a word.
Yeah, he has to. I assume he knows Max is the head vampire because when Max comes over for dinner, he's in the other room, like peeking through the window, eating like a peanut butter sandwich or something. And he's like got his eyes on him. So he fucking knows. And motherfucker doesn't say a goddamn word. He's too busy trying to go fuck the Widow Johnson all the time. He may not know
that Max is a vampire, but he is aware that the town is swarming with him.
The last line of the movie, after everything is said and done, is the grandpa saying, you know, the thing this is a rough, I don't remember exactly. There's always one thing that, you know, I never could stomach about this town. It's all the goddamn vampires. More or less is what he says.
That's the last line in the movie.
And then credits.
Yeah, so he
knew the whole fucking time, did not bother.
He's spending the entire movie saying, I never go into town.
Yes.
I stay as far away from the town as possible.
Do you think that
this is as close as I want to get to going into town? His obsession
with the dead things and making them look alive might have some kind of reflection on the vampires, or am I reading too much into this?
No, but look, his interest in taxidermy is the same, like, it's on the same level as Signs with leaving the glasses of water everywhere, because what ultimately kills David, he gets impaled on one of his taxidermy animals.
Yeah, the grandpa, when he's not even there. He's off thinking he's going to go fuck the Widow Johnson again.
I wonder if she exists.
Oh, no, she definitely does. Oh, do you think? No, maybe not. And he's just taking taxidermied animals, like, off somewhere.
I have no idea.
I would tend to think she really exists because the excuse Corey Haim gives him to get him out of the house because the vampires are coming is, hey, she called. She wants you to meet at 7 instead of 8. And he's like, oh, we have a date tonight? So either she is real and he goes off to get some of that sweet, sweet widow puss, or he's so delusional that he feels she's real. So when Corey Haim says to him, hey, grandpa, go meet your bitch early, he's like, ah, cool. And then he goes to what, a gravestone or something?
Well, Sam
And puts another.
Corey Haim is Sam.
Sorry, yes.
Uh,
I'm really bad with character names, man. I know the actor's better. I keep calling him Kiefer Sutherland.
I think that was his moment. I think that was his moment to like fully understand in his own mind that this widow did not exist.
The grandpa?
No.
Corey
Sam.
Haim.
Okay. So the
Sam.
grandpa is talking about this widow that he keeps going off and banging.
Yes.
And I think Sam is like, no, this ain't happening. And this is his moment to prove it by saying she called. And he's like, oh, really? And he's like, gotcha.
I don't think that at all. I think it was the best excuse.
I think that was two lies coming together. The grandfather didn't want to admit she didn't exist. And Sam wanted to fully understand that she did not.
So he had to go along with it.
Yes.
But okay, so going along, and by the way, I totally think the Widow Johnson exists. But
I don't.
So then, but going down your pathway of thought, that is how the grandpa knew he needed to come back later. Because Corey Haim called him on his fucking lie. And he had to go along with it, but that's how he knew something clearly was going down at his house tonight, because the Widow Johnson ain't fucking real. She did not call you, stupid little grandson. I'm gonna need to come back later at the perfect moment,
Yes.
plow through the wall of my own house and impale
He
the head
went and
of
made
the
a whole
vampire.
bunch of stakes to put in the back of his little truck.
Well, he was making a fence earlier.
Was he?
Yes, he was. It showed it, but it was point up.
I know that he was putting posts in the ground, but none of that read as a fence to me.
It looked like he was fixing a hole in a fence.
No, there was already a fence. He was putting these in front of a existing fence.
Well, that's just another thing to show that I think he knew that the vampires were coming.
Which was just foreshadowing, because what ultimately kills the main vampire is one of these posts that he's putting in his yard.
Yeah, which he goes, and then... did you like the POV shot with the camera of Max with the stake through him, like going back into the fireplace where he just suddenly exploded and turned into dust?
No. There's a lot of shots in this movie that I think could have been done better. I think, look, I've never really held Joel Schumacher in the highest regard as a director. I think he's more of a like set design type guy.
I think he has a vision, and I think he makes fun movies. I maintain, I fucking love Batman Forever. Is it like a wonderful piece of cinema? No, but it's fun and it has a look.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that his movies
aren't
like
Chris
fun.
O'Donnell.
I just don't really think he's, well, rest in peace because he's dead now. But I just don't think.
Oh shit, he did die.
Yeah, he did. I just don't think he was that great of a director.
I like it. I think it is a very specific style of movie. It is very much a Joel Schumacher movie.
If you're watching one of his movies.
Yes. And in the right circumstance, and if you're in the right mood, it's fucking fun. Because everybody, most of the people involved in a Joel Schumacher movie know what this is.
I spent this entire movie watching these scenes going, here's how I would have shot this better.
Well, that's your own ego getting in the way.
I did it doesn't matter. It's like, this movie aside, anytime I'm watching a Joel Schumacher movie, I'm like, this could have been filmed better.
I like them.
This could have been shot better.
Yes, this is my own nostalgia goggles. But
for less money.
Dude, I don't know. I'm always going to think I disregard Batman and Robin because Batman Forever is fucking fun.
Anytime there's wire work done in one of his movies, it's very obvious.
I will tell you the fight scene between David and Michael, flawless.
I will say this. If you're going to have a scene like this in your movie, don't. It never looks good. Aww. Shots like this always look like dog shit in a movie.
I would say these days, yes, don't do that. But there is a quality to it. It's fun. Is it good?
Wire work always looks fucking awful in movies. You can always tell.
Even in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Especially
like that movie.
in that movie.
How dare you? I like that when they're fighting in the bamboo.
No, there's easier, better ways to do this.
It's fantastical. It's not meant to be serious.
We'll go ahead and say that. It was stylistic.
Yes. Style over substance.
It was badly done.
You picked this movie.
Hey, I didn't know what I was getting into. I just remember people talking this movie up. And at the end of the day, it's just kind of, It really is. It's fun, I guess. It's fine. It's short enough. You're going to get through it pretty quickly. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
I don't know. We paused so you could go pee one of the times during the movie, and you're like, how much longer is this movie? And I was like, eh. And then later on you were like,
No,
this is some late third act shit. Hell yeah. So.
It's an hour and 37 minutes. That's how long this film is.
I think that's the right length for
this movie.
Yes, for a
absolutely,
movie like this.
because 2 hours I couldn't deal with this movie.
I could have done with some more world building. I wish they didn't break their own rules. But overall, I mean, it is what it is. Had I been your sister's age, this would have been everything. As it is,
I'm trying to think
it's
of
fine.
like I mean, at this point in time,
I like a different flavor of vampire. So
I was probably, like I said, I was like 5 or 6 years old. I was probably watching Pee-wee's Playhouse.
hell
you know?
yeah.
Like that was my idea.
To be
that
fair,
was like
you
the
were
pinnacle.
watching Pee-wee's Playhouse at
2 weeks
during
ago.
work. Like, yeah, sorry.
But I just wasn't watching movies at this point in my life, you know?
I definitely was, but it was like the same 4 over and over again. So I didn't know about this again until after I had already seen Interview with the Vampire, which is like a next level.
The first movie I remember going to theaters to see was probably The Land Before Time.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly wasn't seeing anything like this in theaters.
No.
At that age.
Was
this
4? Was this rated R? I don't see why it would. I know there's like a couple of scenes where the vampires are biting people and like there's blood spraying out of them.
Well, but it's barely blood. And I maintain that
there is like a quick shot of like some dude getting a scalp ripped off.
Yes.
So maybe.
Well, that's during the whole like bonfire attack,
scene, yeah.
Right? With Run DMC, Aerosmith slash Aerosmith playing in the background. I do see that it opened at number 2 during its opening weekend with a domestic gross of over 5.2 million. It went on to gross a domestic total of over 32.2 million against an 8.5 million budget. So it was definitely a thing.
It's rated R.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know. It doesn't say in my information.
That's fucking weird too, because like the movie's rated R, but the version that we have is like it's
very
uncut.
PG-13.
It's the like it was an anniversary edition, so it was like the uncut version, the unrated version, and I didn't really see anything in this.
Did they even say like fuck or something? Because I don't think.
I think it was just for blood and gore. I think that was.
Because I maintain when David gave Michael the bottle of blood, and you can't see at home, but I've got the quotation marks. I think that he was glamoring it to look like that. That's my excuse as to why that did not look anything like blood. Because that was in the same scene as the maggot rice and the worm noodles, right? The Chinese dinner. Yeah. So I think that was him doing it the other way.
Making it look like wine.
Right. Or just whatever.
Which it didn't even look like wine. It looked like
Kool-Aid.
It looked like the juice they gave us in like,
the watered down
kindergarten.
Fruit punch.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was him doing that. And I also think that's why he glamored the other shit, because his whole goal there was to get Michael to turn into a half vampire so then he could eventually become a full vampire, because his mother was the one that the head vampire wanted to be the mother for everybody.
Why would anybody want to be full vampire? He already explained you're a half vampire, right?
Yeah.
He can already fly. He's already immortal.
He's not immortal, though, because during that final fight...
He said you are forever.
I think that was him talking him up, because Kiefer Sutherland says during their final showdown, I wanted to make you immortal. Like he says during their, when he's like up in the rafters right before their awesome wire work scene happens.
Right.
Awesome again in quotation marks. He says you could you could have had everything. You could have been immortal. You could have been one of us. This whole movie, he's been talking him up like, you're one of us. You're one of us. It's time to join the club. He just had to kill somebody to
I still think that me personally, I'd prefer the half vampire because you can fly.
Yeah.
You can still do vampire shit.
You can go out in the sun and you just need sunglasses.
Yes, you can go in the sun.
Right.
You can fly.
I would assume if you're not immortal,
you're not bound by the rules of the vampire because you don't have to be invited into a house.
Yeah. No, I would say, but that also brings up the question, do you have to be invited in? Or is it or is it just that if you are invited in, you can pass any tests that might be put before you?
You have a almost reflection. You can still see yourself in a reflection. So if you need to shave.
Yeah, check your hair.
If you need to like, I don't know.
Although
do your
apparently
hair or something.
all you need to do is be invited into someone's house and then you can fucking check your shit in the mirror. Which that's such I hate that so much. Oh, well, you invited me in. That makes all the tests null and void.
Well, hang on now. We don't know that he saw his reflection.
He did because he freaked out because they turned the lights off. Okay, what we're talking about is the scene when Max is invited to dinner, right? And like Sam and the Frog Brothers, because that's a sentence I have to say, turn off all the lights and then put a mirror in front of Max because they're trying to see if he's a vampire.
Right. They're trying to feed him garlic. They try to
feed
squirt him with
garlic,
holy water.
They pour holy water on him.
They try to see his reflection in the mirror.
They put a mirror in front of him.
Uh-huh.
And the moment the lights come back on,
I think he just did that.
I don't think he's that smart.
I don't think he saw his own reflection.
I think he absolutely did.
I think that was part of the...
Because we saw his reflection.
That was part of the
why
dance.
wouldn't he see it?
That was part of the dance.
We saw his reflection.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he see it?
He was invited in. We would see his reflection, but he wouldn't.
Why?
He just acted as if he did.
That makes less sense than what the movie shows.
I don't think the man's ever seen his reflection since being a vampire. And also,
does that explain why he dresses the way he does?
it explains a lot with this character.
Although then that would argue that Corey Haim is secretly a vampire because holy shit, what are his outfits?
What the fuck is anyone's get up in this movie?
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie is wearing like the most ill-fitting. Nothing matches.
Corey Haim's outfits get progressive. Corey Feldman just stays in camo with his little Rambo.
With a bandana.
Yes.
Like
okay, that's his look.
He want to do.
Sure. And we love that for him and whatever. Corey Haim has a succession of terrible
Yes, he is
outfits.
out in public. He's wearing a bathrobe with a Hawaiian shirt and like slacks.
I think it's like
with
a duster.
No, it's a bathrobe.
Well,
it's the same fucking bathrobe that he comes in and asks if he can sleep with mommy.
No, that's his stained glass bathrobe that he shows in a couple.
A lot of bathrobes in this film.
I mean, I would say the vampires have their shit together as far as looks go, but other than that, Max, did we ever look up his name? He looked like the guy from the commercials in the 90s, Matthew Lasco or whatever, the guy who was like, I'll help you with money.
I thought he was the scientist in Ninja Turtles 2.
You did, but that's David
that's
somebody. Warner? David Warner.
David Warner. This is Edward Herrmann, who is Max.
Right.
I've probably seen him in other things. I don't know. He looks familiar.
He was apparently the voiceover for all the Dodge commercials in the 90s and the 2000s.
That's it.
So
that's where I know
his
him
voice.
From. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this
Lesko.
movie...
Matthew Lesko, this guy. And I'd like to point out, it is fucking question marks, you asshole. You fucking gaslighted me into thinking it was dollar signs. And you were like, the question marks are the Riddler. And I was like, no, that motherfucker.
Well, it's also not green. It's yellow. You said it was green.
Hold on.
You were like, who was the guy in the green like suit with the question marks?
Okay,
and I was like, the Riddler?
Suit. He's got different ones. There's a blue suit. He's got fucking green suit with question marks. Go fuck yourself, Chad.
What is that? Is that AI?
No.
Is that an AI monster?
It says, apropos of nothing at all, please enjoy this wonderful photo of Matthew Lesko. He's got, okay, guys, go Google Matthew Lesko, Lesko, and go to the Google images, and you'll scroll down to find a picture of this man.
What is that? What is that pattern?
It's hearts. It's hearts with faces.
Oh, I thought it was like...
But it's like spandex.
I thought it was blood cells.
No. You're thinking of Mr. Goodbody. No, Matthew Lesko was this guy who was like, I can get you free money. Want to know how? Call me. In the 90s, it was commercials. Anyways, he looks like Max. That's immediately who I thought of.
Yeah, he does kind of look like him.
It's very similar. I just feel so vindicated that it was fucking question marks and not money signs. But although money signs would have made sense.
So what is it about this movie that you like?
I didn't pick this movie.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
You've watched it.
I have.
You didn't hate it.
It's fine.
I feel the same way. And you watched this how long ago? Had to be before you met me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I met you, and we started dating in 2004.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what it is about this movie. I maintain
it's made for teenage girls and gay boys. You look at them, you don't think too deeply. I don't know what else it would be.
You really can't think when you're watching this movie.
No.
You're going to You're going to have questions.
That's why it always irritated me, because even as a preteen, I could think, and the rules didn't fucking make
This movie would have
sense.
bored the shit out of me as a kid. It kind of did as an adult.
Like, it's fun. Moments are fun. The aesthetic is there. There's just no substance.
I spent a lot of this movie, like, not only just being like, okay, that could have been directed better. That could have been shot better. You could have saved some money on that because it looks like dog shit. But also just like looking at the scenery, just trying to find, because there's a lot of Easter eggs in the backgrounds of this thing from
There's
other
a ton
movies,
of stuff
other pop culture things.
Yeah, like in their rooms or in the city itself or the lair or whatever.
Right. And that
the set dressing on this movie is top notch. There's a lot of fucking shit.
the sets in this movie are far better than anything going on in the film.
No, I think if you approach this movie as a vibe rather than like a story, maybe that's what it is.
Much story here. This is definitely something you put on when you're doing something else.
Because realistically, the fact that Max is the head vampire makes no sense.
Well, okay, and let's get back to that, because I was going to ask earlier. He's the head vampire.
Yes.
Does that mean he's the first one?
He is the one that created David and all the others.
So
therefore, anyone that vampire.
What came first, the vampire or the half
the
vampire?
egg?
Yeah, like
it's hard to say because vampire lore and the rules change depending on the property. It would stand to reason that he was created by somebody. However, he was the head vampire of this enclave, right? He created David and all the others.
So here's my question.
Therefore,
now.
anybody they have created,
he was created
undone.
He was created by somebody else,
right?
So why did killing him undo everyone else's shit?
Because the only vampires we saw in the movie were ones he created, or half vampires that his vampires created.
Okay, so if he was created, wouldn't that then revert head vampire to the person who created him?
Okay, think of it like an MLM. Okay, he's the manager, right? And he's got David and Alexander Winter and everything. Okay,
I get what you're saying, but somebody created him, which means there is a head vampire above him.
But killing the head vampire above him would undo everybody they made. I'm saying with each head vampire, quote unquote, it undoes what they have done. And since he created David and the others, don't make me fucking justify this. You picked this fuck. I am trying to make sense out of a movie that they did not put that much thought into.
This is a loophole.
It's aesthetic, the movie. Yeah. Just look at the pretty boys and move on.
And to be fair, aesthetically, it ain't even that great. Maybe for 1987.
I think it's a solid look. The mullets, not so much.
It's trying so hard to be this like ethereal, dreamy 80s synthwave experience.
All of which is right up your alley, which is why I thought you would have seen this before.
Well, and all this stuff is right up my alley, and that says a lot as to like when you think of that aesthetic for me, I think of Mandy. That did this perfectly. It even takes place in the 80s.
We watched that recently.
This movie not only takes place in the 80s, it was filmed in the 80s, made in the 80s, and it just doesn't work.
I think you're putting too much thought and effort when it's meant to be Joel Schumacher movie.
Because it tried so hard to be this time capsule. But also,
I don't know that it did. I think people have made it into that time capsule.
It has also it was way too like everything when this movie came out. The actors they chose, the music, the
very
musicians
up and coming,
they chose,
very hip, very now.
Posters and everything in the background and shit that they were choosing.
The big watch clock.
It's now it's dated, which is why it wasn't done.
You are coming at this with 2025 eyes. I was coming at it with like 1995 eyes. This exists in 1987. It is very much of its time. Had I been 14 when this movie came out, I'd have lost my fucking tits over it.
It just didn't.
I just didn't.
It didn't feel like
and I wasn't.
Anything that
I feel like this has been built up for you over so many decades of just like people going, oh, the fucking Lost Boys. And then when you say you're like, what?
It's always on the list of like top 80s movies made.
It is a very 80s movie. It is a very 80s movie.
It is.
It's Goonies Vampires kind of. There's caves. There's Corey Feldman. What else?
There's a cave, which is
cave.
also a lair.
Yes.
Which
But
is very.
You liked the lair.
I did. The lair was the best part of the
You
movie.
wouldn't
for
have
me.
Jim Morrison
Hands
in the
down.
lair, though.
The lair and then the shirtless saxman. That was a good part.
What does it say that's what sticks out?
He was
for
very
you?
oiled up.
He is.
I appreciated
very,
that.
Unappealing in every way. You know who he reminds me of is. Do you know who Tony Little is?
I've heard the name.
He did the gazelle.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
he's like the
Okay,
super
yes.
ripped guy with the tightly
The
curled
fitness guru.
hair, ponytail. Yeah.
Yes, he's any of those, but like,
Although honestly, straighten his hair and throw some makeup on him, and he could have been in the Misfits. Super ripped, just
yeah, if he had the makeup and the hair,
yes,
for sure.
100%.
Maybe
I don't
get
like
rid of the
sax.
saxophone.
I don't like. Oh, I do not. I'm not a fan of the saxophone.
No, my
Sorry.
favorite part about this character is just the confidence that he has.
I just love that you keep bringing him up when he's in one scene early in the movie and is not the focus.
No, but it's the
I
one
guess he
thing
was the
everyone
focus
remembers.
for you. No, I have never. I've seen that
Are
movie
you kidding
multiple
me?
times. I did not remember
this
that
man
guy
is
at
a
all.
meme. He's a gif. I see this thing all the time.
I think you just like this man.
Social media is full of this dude.
I have never seen him. I've seen this movie multiple times. I did not remember him at all.
All right, well, this is the first time I saw this movie, and
It's all you can think of.
his reputation precedes
I
him.
guess I need to learn the saxophone and really start working out.
Yeah. Have at it. No, I think for me, the movie, it kind of missed the mark. I'm not the target demographic
I think it's
for
fine.
this thing.
I just am not the right age. Like I said, if I had been your
I don't think
sister's
it
age,
aged
it would have been
well.
it. I think it's fine.
I think that the lair is the best part of the movie.
I think it's perfectly fine for what it is and when it was. I don't have any issues
got a
with
lot
it.
of-
It's just not necessarily for. I've seen every part about this movie done better in other movies,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I've seen I've seen a more fun Joel Schumacher movie. I've seen better vampire movies. You know,
I've seen movies with this
I've
aesthetic
seen better movies
that
with
came
Corey
out before
Feldman.
this one that did it better.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just like it.
I think if you were of the time and you love it, I get it. It just, I wasn't there in that moment, so it missed me.
Well, I could say this. This movie came out in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
It was competing with the likes of Munchies. So there you go. It probably was the better movie.
I would
go and
rewatch The
see in
Lost
theaters
Boys
for-
again before I rewatch Munchies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
maybe.
Robert Picardo.
But yes, I wasn't the target for this. I was too young.
Except
to
for that sax man.
even
He
know what
really
it
left an
was.
impression on you.
I'd give it.
I totally get why people love this movie, especially women 10 years older than me. I get, or gay boys, whatever. I get it. I appreciate it. It missed me.
I give it
slightly
4 French fries out of 10.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Because that fits. That feels right.
I like curly fries better.
So watching this now, what do you think? Overall,
I think I didn't pick this movie. I think watching it with you who had never seen it before and you trying to figure out who's the head vampire and all these different things, because this is
it
shit
clearly was not David.
I have not, no, that was too obvious. I think
they made it very clear it was not
I
David.
probably haven't seen this since 2001. And I saw it for the first time in 97, 98. I think I had probably seen this 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
before. Never really of my choosing. It's just I was in places where it was on. I never rented this from on video or anything like that. I was Interview with the Vampire. Yes.
And like I said, I was.
I think it's fun. I think it's hard to turn your brain off because again, they break their own rules and that bothers me. Put it on mute and don't think and just look at the pretty boys if you want and go for it. Sure. It's also not my favorite kind of pretty boy. So, I mean, what do you guys
That's
say?
probably something we can do is would you recommend people watch this?
I think if you have any interest in any kind of 80s punk adjacent aesthetic, I think if you like Joel Schumacher movies, I think if you like vampires and you haven't seen, because I I don't like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I never have. I never will. I didn't really watch it. I didn't fucking get it. And this one has the same, like, really almost Neanderthal kind of brow when they're in vampire form. And I don't like that at all. But if any of that, or...
It was very clear that the
sure.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show
took a lot of inspiration from this.
Yes, the visuals.
That's
of
what
the
I'm saying. When Kiefer, David, whatever, boom, and he's got the it's Angel. It's fucking Angel.
Yeah. Well, Spike.
The problem is
Spike looks exactly like Kiefer Sutherland.
There's gotta be inspiration taken there.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say that in particular, Kiefer Sutherland in this movie is iconic looking. If you like that look, watch the fucking movie, look at him, don't think too hard, and then move on.
I could see like a very modern like action figure company making
hell yeah
a Kiefer Sutherland David figure of this.
Is iconic.
Yeah.
He is.
I will give it that.
Yeah.
There is something iconic about the way that
yes.
that he in particular
try to
looks.
Ignore the mullets.
I think they spent a lot of time getting his look down and not so much on anyone else. I think they knew
that he was going to be the one all the girlies are like, ooh.
Yeah, yes.
That's what this movie is, man. It's a vehicle to look at Kiefer Sutherland young and as a vampire. And beyond that, don't think too hard. It's fun. Is it a good movie? No. I don't think it was intended to be. I don't think Joel Schumacher ever made a movie going, this is my magnum opus. I think he was a person who liked color and design and set design and aesthetic and went with that. And if you go into it with that mindset, it's fun. But you went into it going, oh, I think it takes itself too seriously.
No, that's what I thought before I saw it.
I know. That's why I'm saying you went into it thinking that.
Yes.
So you're always going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I guess.
Corey Haim, R.I.P., annoying, close your fucking mouth. The main character, Michael, I'm sorry, forgettable, not nearly as interesting. Max as the head vampire, sure, okay. Diane Wiest always turns it out. She's always great. In everything I've ever seen her in, from Edward Scissorhands to Practical Magic to anything else, Diane Wiest always... Like, she's the only one in this movie who's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just trying to be a good mother. I found this nice man who wants to date me. I'm trying to start my life over. Even the grandpa, her father fucking knows what's going on.
But I think the thing I liked most about this movie is like when she's at the end of the movie, when she's realizing that all these people around her are vampires, she has this look on her face like she just walked into a theme night at a gay bar by accident.
Well, but she tries to be a good mother throughout. She does not understand what is going on with her older son. She's trying her hardest to
just be like, I'm here. I need to understand this.
You boys are fucking insane. But at the end, when Max is like, he has Sam, Corey Haim, in like a headlock and he's like, be with me. She sacrifices herself for her child as far as she's concerned. She's like, I will do this. Just leave my son alone. Yeah. That's good mom. She tries her best to be a good mom throughout this movie. Her sons are like off dealing with vampires and being fucking insane, and she doesn't know what's going on. So she does her best.
Yeah, she's the straight man in this for sure.
Yes.
But
poor Diane Wiest.
For me personally,
I love her.
If none of you have seen this movie, watch it just because, like, if you have any interest in film at all, watch it because it's baffling how some of these scenes were shot that incompetently.
I don't feel the way. I think it's fun. I don't care. Like, you have to go into it once you realize it's a Joel Schumacher joint. I feel like you have to go into it and go, okay, this is going to be wacky and off the wall and gay as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
And just have fun with it.
And not even gay, but just like maybe.
No, but it's okay. What I mean when I say that, it's okay. Women love gay. Okay. And yes, this is a stereotype and whatever. I'm thoroughly guilty of this. Women love gay. We love the idea of
every
gay,
woman
but
is
we
looking
don't want
for a straight
actual
gay.
Yeah. We love this kind of gay. The whole like, Michael, join us. Hell yeah. Oh, kiss.
I have the confidence to wear this outfit in public gay.
Fucking A.
Yeah. I understand
Yes!
what you're saying.
Give me all of that. Androgynous. Are we gay? We might be gay. Enemies to lovers. That's what this movie is. It's
at the same time, I mean, Joel Schumacher himself was a gay film director.
Right.
So I understand why all that was at play here.
Sure.
I get it. He put it in the Batman movies, which was inoffensive.
Until Batman and Robin, I maintain them getting suited up is offensive.
Yeah, the nipples and the
nipples
butts.
on the bat suit.
Like,
the butt is fine, but he added those nipples.
yeah. So,
and to have George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell be in them, no thank you.
Going into a Schumacher film, you kind of have to expect this type of aesthetic.
Right. And you didn't, because you didn't know it was Joel Schumacher before we started this. So.
But it's not like in your face with it. It's not overtly
no
over the top.
It's what it is again, it goes back to women. We can read gay into so much. We want everything to be gay.
This is a movie you can watch with your gay best friend.
Absolutely.
And you're both going to have a good time.
Or your girlfriends, and you're going to have a fantastic time and go, oh my God, look at them. Are they going to kiss?
Right.
Maybe cute.
There are a couple of times in this movie where I'm like,
yeah.
Are they gonna?
No, seriously. Well, yeah, when Kiefer Sutherland is like right up in Michael's face, he's like, do you know why we want to do Michael?
You're one of us now. Let go. Just give in. Just give in to your desires,
Dude,
Michael.
I'm just saying there's an allegory there. I'm not going to say what it is, but like maybe kiss a little. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But no, it's fun. Is it great? No. But I think it has its place in things. And
it's fine.
Like I said, I see why people hold it up as this like iconic hell yeah, fuck yeah 80s movie. It just kind of missed me. So I'm coming at it later. You're coming at it way later.
I understand that this was an iconic 80s movie.
Yes.
After watching it, I don't understand that.
I do.
Other than like the aesthetic of David.
Yeah.
I can understand how he would be like an iconic. He's like the only iconic character in this movie.
Well, okay, when people think of Lost Boys, what do they think of? Kiefer Sutherland. They don't think of the main character guy, the Jason Patrick, the Michael. I mean, they might realize. Did you even know that both of the Coreys were in this?
I knew Feldman was in it.
Okay.
I didn't know Haim.
Corey Haim was arguably far larger a character in this than Corey Feldman.
Yeah, he was.
But Corey Feldman ended up being.
I knew Alex Winter was in it.
Right. Yes.
But that was it. I didn't know
that's really
Diane
all you
Wiest
need
was
to
in
know.
it.
Do you regret having watched it?
No. I look, if nothing else, I got to see it and I got to be like, man, the hype was it was overhyped.
Well,
That's
again,
how
I think that people watched it at a specific kind of age and really locked onto it.
Yes. I could see somebody from our generation stumbling upon this.
This
in
is very
1991.
Right. This is very much an awakening movie.
Yes.
Right. This is
I can absolutely agree to that.
Oh, I'm into this.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know I was into this.
But watching this as a fully grown man, knowing exactly what I'm into, none of this did anything for me.
Aw.
Yeah. Not even the saxman.
Are you sure? I think you're.
I'm positive
about that. You keep bringing him up.
I appreciate.
Yuck.
I appreciate somebody who goes to that.
I do not.
Length.
Yuck.
To have a.
Give me the androgyny.
Essence.
I like a slender boy. No, thank you.
Whatever, but he is an essence. He is a vibe. He is an era. Don't take that.
You
the
are
wrong
so
way.
fucking gay for this man.
Look, if I was gay,
no,
it'd be
Ryan
I could do worse
Gosling.
than Saxman.
No, we've established this years ago. It's Ryan Gosling for you. Who, if you were a Hollywood actor, he looks very like you. Like, Valerie Storm, my author and one of my best friends, and I have discussed this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've determined that you like Ryan Gosling so much because he reminds me of he reminds you of an idealized you.
I think a lot of people could look at actors or something. And
But
be
literally, he looks like a Hollywood version of you.
Okay.
I think you're in love with yourself.
Oh, definitely. You gotta love yourself, man.
No, you should.
You got to.
You absolutely should.
All night long, sometimes in the dark.
Oh my god!
When no one's looking.
With a sax man.
All by yourself.
Oh.
Watching the sax man.
No, yeah, you. Yeah.
Not that I would do that.
No,
but you could.
Like you could do that.
You should do that.
You should do that.
I shouldn't do that.
You should definitely.
You should go do that.
I will not do that.
No, the Pretty Little People should go do that.
Yeah.
Just once.
Not me.
You'll find out a lot about yourself if you do that. Just one time.
I think.
But I wouldn't ever do that.
No.
It ain't
What's
for me.
denial? What?
This movie is not for me.
Oh.
It's just not. It was fine. It was inoffensive. It was fun,
was it fun
enough. It was just kind of.
It was fun and fine.
It was fun and fine. It was. I mean, that's the best thing that I could say about it. It wasn't groundbreaking for me. I've seen other movies with this same concept do it better. Before this movie, after this movie, I don't really understand, other than what you said as this being an awakening movie, which it kind of is.
Sure. I totally get it.
I don't get the
hype. It just missed me. I was not the right age. I should have, if I had been older again, this would have been.
You know what? If I had been like,
I get it. Looking at them, I get it.
If I had been like
just not quite
5 years older than I am and saw this, I might be a gay man today.
Well, or you might have started dressing like them.
But I watched Pee-wee's Playhouse. I would have been
happy.
And that didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe Prince would have.
Prince was a cute little boy.
I've heard Prince is like the awakening for a lot of...
Prince gets everyone.
He's like Dr. Frankenfurter.
Yeah. Who again? Holy shit. Gets everyone. It doesn't matter. That it's Tim Curry? Who cares? Fuck off. It doesn't matter. Quit going down the androgynous route. This is a weakness of mine. Stop it.
This is an androgynous movie. Which is
why I get it, but again, I came to it at a different time in my life, so...
Because even Diane Wiest in this movie has like an androgynous look. Everyone has...
The very short hair.
An androgynous look in this film.
Yeah, except for Corey Haim, who just can't keep his fucking mouth closed.
Yeah, any of the kids in this movie are very much identified male or female, but the adults in this film are just all kind of...
And what's her head? And Jamie Gertz is beautiful in this.
She's fine.
No,
I think she looks better
gorgeous.
Now than she did then.
She looks great now too.
I think she does.
It's weird coming to me because again, I saw Twister before I saw this movie, so I knew her as the very Southern psychiatrist other woman who, again, I would love to do Twister someday. I love that fucking movie so much. And that's what I first saw Philip Seymour Hoffman in, was Dusty as in Twister. But to see her in this, like her hair is flawed. I want her hair in this movie. Oh,
it's fine.
Her hair's fantastic. No, she's beautiful. And she does her best. Yeah. But she chose wrong. Who the fuck is choosing the main character? Whatever. Anyways.
Especially when she had the better aesthetic dude in the whole fucking movie.
She had David. He was totally into her. What are you doing? No.
I mean, I've never.
On what fucking level are you choosing?
I've never really thought about Kiefer Sutherland either way. It's even from like a female perspective. He's just my idea of Kiefer Sutherland to me is
24
Dark City.
Oh, 24. He's good in Dark City though.
Yeah, but he's playing this like weirdo, this like eccentric,
the little round glasses. Yeah,
he's very strange.
Well, see, when I think of Kiefer Sutherland, I think of this movie.
Oh, I'm sure you do, because it's the best way to remember him.
It's a good way to remember Kiefer Sutherland.
His father died recently.
I know.
That's sad.
President Snow. Right, of all the things, most people probably know him as President Snow from the Hunger Games movies, for all that he was in Invasion of the Body Snatchers and all, which.
He's been in everything.
His fucking reaction to it creeps me out. No, R.I.P. Donald
again,
Sutherland.
What did I give this? 4 French fries out of 10?
I'm really impressed you remembered that. Yes. Yeah.
For story. Aesthetically, it's like
it's aesthetic. No. What are you talking about? This movie is all aesthetic and no story.
The layer is a 10. The rest of the movie is just kind of in California. You know what I mean? It's California, like in a house.
Biker vampires.
It just takes place in a house or on a boardwalk.
You watch this to see Kiefer Sutherland occasionally grow fangs. And watch Corey Feldman in his little Rambo headband kill somebody. I don't know. all the main characters are forgettable. It's the side characters that make this fucking movie.
There's a lot of points.
Because he is so serious. He's 100% serious throughout this movie. He's like deadly serious.
Yes, he is deadpan serious
From
about
moment
this whole
one,
role.
he's like,
but there's
read this
plenty of times in this film that I was watching this that he's off camera but talking, and all I hear is Donatello.
Who was my favorite Ninja Turtle, by the way.
Yes, Corey Feldman was the voice of Donatello in the Ninja Turtles movies.
Turtle.
But he sounds exactly fucking like him. And
Can we not bring this back around to Corey
anytime
Feldman?
his voice is going when he's not on screen, all I hear is Donatello.
He does machines, I'll have you know.
He does. Occasionally.
He was my favorite.
Mm.
Who was yours? Raphael, probably. You're a little shit.
Raphael was my favorite.
Of course
Ninja
it
Turtle.
was.
Still
you
is.
can tell a lot about a person as to who their favorite Ninja Turtle was.
You know what? He is the fucking powerhouse, no nonsense.
No, he is needed, but Donatello is the fucking brains. No, nothing would have fucking happened if not for him.
I'm an Aries.
I'm a Sagittarius.
I go into things head first.
You are a fucking ram.
I don't look
100%. I am aware of this. I have known you for more than half my life now.
Yeah. Raphael is by far the superior turtle.
Look.
His weapon is better too than all of them.
Donatello is the best. And purple isn't even my favorite color. But he was the smart one. He figured shit out.
Raphael was the real leader.
Raphael was cool but crude. Okay?
Okay.
Donatello does machines.
You're telling me this?
Yeah.
Like I didn't grow up hearing that theme song 8 billion times.
I still have a lot of my Ninja Turtle figures to this day.
Yeah, well.
I do. In
some
a box
of us
somewhere.
let go of childish things when we become
Yeah,
men.
well, some of us realize that age doesn't dictate what you should fucking like. And if you like something, like it wholeheartedly. And who fucking cares if you're 40 or 15? Shut the fuck up. Unless it's other 15-year-olds, in which case, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Where can people find you, Jess?
Oh, I am at JHLMoon on Instagram. I cannot be bothered with Twitter or any other social media at this point. Thank you. Although you can go to Shadow Spark Pub at Shadow Spark Pub on Twitter. We're still trying there. Thank you, Erica, for keeping that going. And Instagram, Blue Sky, Pinterest, at Shadow Spark. Well, www.shadowsparkpub.com. That is my publishing house.
Yeah, I'm out there. You can find me on Instagram.
You are out there.
You can find me at Chad J Moon.
Hell yeah.
You can find the podcast on Instagram at The Pretty Little Podcast. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Pretty Little Podcast at The Pretty Little Podcast 69420.
Yay! So close.
So close this time. Bye.